everyone. It is Dana Sacco with I2I Hype, and I am so excited to be talking to you today because today we're working on your ideal client and how to actually decide how to say what your ideal client actually is. Who is this person? Who is this person that's sitting there? And this is actually one of the big things that I discuss in the 3-day workshop that we do. And this is like, it gets pretty big with this because a lot of us as entrepreneurs, a lot of us, we hate saying no. I think that is where a lot of this comes from, is that we really don't like to say no to people. So people will come from all of these different areas, and many of you know I work a lot with bookkeepers and accountants. And I see this a lot because even when I was in bookkeeping, my priority went to e-commerce people, the people that worked with Amazon FBA. So why? Because I knew what I needed out of that, and it made it a little bit difficult for me to find a lot of these people because they all thought that they could do it all. Because that's just how a lot of Amazon people are. We think that we've got this and that the bookkeeping is separate because Amazon provides these incredibly intense reports. However, most of them didn't realize how much work was involved. At the same time, I was working with daycare providers, setting up the accounts, doing a lot of VA work alongside of the bookkeeping for newer daycare centers. We all know what happened when COVID hit in daycares. So the new daycares weren't actually opening when they were supposed to. But, I was working with, sure, I'll take you. Sure, I'll take you. Sure, I'll take you. And we all have that in there. So what happens? We get overwhelmed. We aren't really sure how it's all going. We aren't really sure, where everyone is. And I'm taking a look at something really quick to see because it is not showing. I'm looking to see if it's actually playing in the group, if this is actually going into the group. But I think it is. Yes, it is. Awesome. So one of the things that I needed to work on myself was actually defining who I actually wanted to work with. And even when I was working just as a VA and as a tech VA, who should I actually want to work with, right? Because again, there's coaches, there's bookkeepers, there's accountants, there's these people over here that are doing gosh knows what with Shopify, and you get the concept, right? There's a lot of different things out there. So how do you narrow it down? Now, I want you to ask yourself, I want you to actually, someone said to me, think of your favorite client and that you would want to work with over and over and over again. What I want you to do though is actually come up with a name. I actually want you to say, okay, I'm going to say, this is Danielle, right? Danielle is my ideal client. She's an entrepreneur. Awesome. Okay, so are most of the people that we end up working with, right? But she's between the ages of what and what. That makes a difference, guys. That actually does. So I want you to draw a picture of this person. I want you to actually go in there and look, what does Danielle look like? She may have kids. I'm looking for people who are overwhelmed. I'm looking for bookkeepers and accountants that are overwhelmed with their systems, right? Because they don't want to oh my goodness, I need more caffeine today. They don't want to spend their entire life on the computer. None of us do. But sometimes there's a group in there, the people that they don't have kids, they can turn their they don't have they have family, but they don't have like immediate family. Maybe they're living in an apartment by themselves. Maybe they're doing something like that. So it gets to be a little bit different, right? But this person over here is not necessarily my ideal client because they're still in that I can do it all stage. That's in their mindset. So who are you actually looking for? Mine would be that they're overwhelmed. A lot of times they're juggling multiple things. Someone like me. Okay, so I'm going to describe myself. I am in my 40s. I have multiple children. I have animals. I like animals. That might not seem important to you, but it might. I like coffee. I have to wake up early in the morning so that I can get stuff done so I can balance the rest of my life. I feel sometimes that I have to have my phone in my hand to make everything work and to be able to manage and balance everyone. So think about it right now. Do you feel that is different than if I just said I'm an entrepreneur in my 40s who needs to streamline my business? See, there's a lot of spaces that you need to fill in there. Why do I need to streamline my business? Well, maybe I'm ready to scale my business, but that might not necessarily be it. It might not be that sort of a person. So when you're digging in, all right, I need to do this for this. I am this person. So my person, Danielle, she might be in her 30s to 40s. She's running her business as she's managing her family. She's trying to figure out dinners at the same time that she's trying to figure out what who she contacted or what the next project is, or she's looking at her schedule and realizing that she has appointments scheduled when she's supposed to be at a dance recital. These type of things are the people I'm looking for. I want these people. Why? Because I want them to be able to schedule themselves and still schedule their lives and still have time to go and be a parent, be this person, be able to have a life outside of the computer screen, outside of their phone, outside of having to take. I ran into one person at one point, and I see this a lot. She was at, I think it was a dance recital or something like that, and she had to have a laptop with her. If she didn't have a laptop with her, things weren't working for her. She couldn't do her work. She was so overscheduled that she wasn't balancing her life and her extracurricular stuff and even her family along with her business. So these are the people that I'm looking for. I want these people. Why? Because I want to streamline it and I want them to all of a sudden have time. Can you imagine the freedom that finding this person, getting them to be doing, getting some of their stuff set up, and all of a sudden they have free time. So now I have done that. So I want you, instead of just looking at, I'm looking for an entrepreneur, women entrepreneur coaches who need to scale their business, which sounds completely awesome. And I know a lot of coaches that do. Well, who is that entrepreneur? Who is the person? Give her a name, give the person a name. Why am I saying her? Because they're saying a woman. I'm looking for female entrepreneurs. All right. I'm looking for female entrepreneur coaches. All right. I'm looking for female entrepreneur business coaches. Perfect. You're getting closer. I'm looking for female entrepreneur coaches who focus on X, who are within X age group, who are within this, who are starting their business, who are doing this, who sometimes I've worked with people who their clients are very specific. Like, I work with coaches who are working on Kajabi. I don't want to work with coaches on Kartra. I don't want to work with them. I don't want to work with coaches who are over on Mighty Networks. I don't want to work with them. These, and some of those people, that's absolutely fine. You're defining who you are working with. One of the big discussions I've seen lately in the bookkeeping groups are Xero versus QuickBooks Online. And I know some people, some bookkeepers who refuse to work with Xero. Then I have some bookkeepers that refuse to work with QuickBooks Online. Then I have some bookkeepers, and this is one of the things that really gets to me, guys. If you have been a bookkeeper for so long in a certain system, I'll go back in time and show a little bit about my age with this. One of the first systems I worked with when we needed to have a lot of stuff done was actually Peachtree. All right, so we had Peachtree going in the background. We had an entire desktop system set up just for Peachtree, right? So that was my first accounting system. That was the first one that we started working with that we could run paychecks off of. And it was all inclusive. I mean, it was like this big deal, and it felt really big, and it had the big peach on there, and I felt really good about it. Well, imagine if you had worked in something such as Peachtree for the last 30 years, and all of a sudden everyone's telling you need to use QuickBooks Online because you're not going to get any business. Have you ever thought that maybe that person would do really well with doing their business on Peachtree? So, a specific client I'm thinking about, she's worked for 20 years on Sage. Why is she trying to change when she's going into her own business? Believe me, there are people that want virtual Sage bookkeepers out there. All right. They're there. They are there. Sage is a very specific piece of software. So she could put her thing is, I want to work with these corporations, because it's not usually an individual entity, virtually, that need a virtual bookkeeper that knows Sage, or that is running Sage for their accounting system. Bonus. Payroll people. I work with, I'm working with business owners who are using Gusto, or I'm working with business owners who are using ADP, or I am manually doing, hats off to you, all the payroll for this type of business, because I only want to work with this type of business. Why? Because then you kind of get an idea of who it actually is that you're talking to. I can kind of speak bookkeeper and accountant speak. Okay, the accountants speak now. I don't do the accountant thing, but I can talk the bookkeepers talk, because I've been there. I've done that. I've done bookkeeping for 30 years. Whether I've done bookkeeping on our end or versus, professionally, it doesn't make a difference. I've done bookkeeping, and I know bookkeeping, and I've looked at it, and I've got the whole thing going on, so I can talk that talk, right? I can talk computers. Why? Because I've been doing it for 30 years. I've been working on computers since computers weighed as much as I do. So those type of things, it's not niche, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, that's a whole nother argument. But finding that is narrowing it down to people that you want to work with. So instead of just saying, I work with this, I want you to define that person. I want you to give the person a name. My Danielle, who's actually not my ideal client name, but that's beside the point. I work with women business owners who are trying to juggle too much on their hands between family and starting a business. A lot of my customers, a lot of my clients, they also have full-time jobs or part-time jobs outside of doing this. And so what I'm trying to do is make it so that they actually have time, so that they can put the computer down, they can turn off their notifications. There is, I keep getting beeped over here. So, all right, no idea why I was getting beeped. So that is actually the first step. When you're developing your workflow, when you are developing what you want the client experience to look like, you kind of have to decide who the client is, right? It doesn't mean you can't have two separate clients, two separate ideal clients for the same type of thing. They're all going to come into the same type of workflow, right? So, like, I'm going to pop up here. This is the first day worksheet that we go through. All right. Your business name, you're offering, what are you selling these people, and who is your ideal client? If you do not have this done, the rest of this is okay, but we need to define this so that we know who we're talking to. And this is day one of the 3-day workshop that's in February. We go over this first, and then I come back and I talk to you, and I'm like, okay, for example, I think it was now I forgot. I think it was Nicole on the Facebook page who made a comment about what hers was. I'm like, great, that's a great start, but let's dig deeper. Let's find out just a little bit more. Let's get in there and figure out what is working. And let's, it's not just entrepreneur coaches. I want to jump in and see if I can find that really quick. I thought I had it up. Go in here. And I think I did it the other day. This one. And it's like it was Nicole. So her ideal client is a female coach. I'm going to pick on you a little bit here, Nicole, who is tired of being stuck at 5,000 months when she has invested 5 times that. So her ideal client is a female coach. Awesome. What age group? It does matter because you're speaking a language. If someone came up to me and they're in their 20s trying to tell me how to do my job, I'm really going to laugh. So, those type of things, it may not seem that important to you, but it actually is. There can be a little bit of a leeway there, but there's not a huge amount of, okay, a 20-year-old is not going to tell me what I'm doing wrong, but a 30 to 40-year-old might. I'm cool with that. So you're stuck at $5,000 months. Well, how long have they been stuck? Is it really stuck, or are they just kind of giving in? So there's a little bit of a difference there. I want you to pull that out. I want you to figure that out. Where do they want to be? Who not necessarily is tired of being stuck, but is ready to go where? Where are they ready to go to? We're all tired of being stuck in anything. If you're stuck anywhere, you're tired of it. Plain and simple. I don't care if think about weight loss, okay? You haven't lost 1 pound. You've been sitting there for a week. We're dead. We're like, okay, give me all the ice cream. That sort of thing. So you pull that out just a little bit more. And then you're talking about women who have invested $25,000 or more in their business already. Okay, great. So we kind of have an idea now of they're women who have money. I mean, if you have 25 grand sitting around and you've put that into your business, you have money. So maybe they have another job. Maybe they're doing something else. Maybe they are doing, maybe they keep investing or paying for ads. Paying for ads is a big thing. Like a lot of people will go through and they'll just start paying for ads. Well, that doesn't do anyone any good. Now, does it? It doesn't help anyone at all. If you keep paying for ads and there's zero return on it, then stop paying for the dang ads and figure out where you're wrong. Something is not connecting somewhere. So how are they spending it? And so they're moving from you have the end results in there, which is not necessarily defining your ideal client. You want her to move from $5,000 months to $15,000 months. Awesome. How long have you been in that spot? So these type of things, it's putting your ideal client has to be somewhere that you have actually been I think it needs to be. I think that you need to have experienced it just a little bit. so that you can show that breakthrough. So you have to just define yourself. Um, if I was to define, going back to defining myself just a little bit with it, was I was overwhelmed. I didn't see the beach where I live 100 yards from it. I did not see it for an entire summer. Guys, at that point, I was making however much per month. I think I had hit that magical number of 10,000 per month. And by seeing that, it was time for a change. So, guys, I've been where a lot of the people I am looking at my ideal client to be, I know where they want to be. I know where they are. I know that they feel tied to whatever. So you have to feel it. It has to be an actual thing. Saying that, going back to when I was working with daycare centers, just saying that I worked with daycare centers doesn't tell me a whole lot, does it? I had daycare centers. I had one who was, I think it was a franchise. I think she was a franchise of a daycare center. And, you know, she was just a mess. Her bookkeeping was just a mess, plain and simple. Um, so that's where she needed to be. She was like, okay, she's just overwhelmed with all the numbers and she doesn't know where all the money was going. Then I have ones that were starting up. They had no idea how to start where they were. So it was, and I was coming in and putting small pieces together for them to show them where they were. But it was defining where I was. So guys, I know that this one is super, it's morning. So it was super early even for me. As you can tell, I've got my Diet Coke here ready to go for my third thing of caffeine. The 4-year-old's been up since 6:30. So, but I want you to really dig onto finding your ideal client. Really make it a person. Picture that person in your head. If it is a woman, what color hair does she have? Picture her. Why? Because when you are creating your offers, when you are talking to the people, when you are taking them through that pipeline of whatever it is, you need to be talking on their level. I've been lately, I think it's like 3 people this past week, 4 people this past week have been telling me about, that they're going to help me with overwhelm. And don't do the DM thing. That's just stupid. But I would, flipping through them. And they're going to help me with overwhelm. They're in their 20s. They have 1, maybe 2 kids. Because I looked to see how they were going to help me. I am not their ideal client. I am nowhere close to being their ideal client. Because, again, I've had 5 kids. I've juggled 5 kids. I've homeschooled. I've had up to 9 kids in my house. I've run multiple businesses with kids in my house. You're not going to tell me in your 20s with 1 or 2 kids how you're going to help me with my overwhelm. Thank you. I am not their ideal client. And by wasting their time, they wasted mine. And you do not want to do that when you are presenting to your people. When you are presenting to your, when you are presenting on your website, whether you're presenting on an email, whether you're presenting just talking on social media, you want to talk to the people that you work with. All right. So I hope that this helps, guys. Just to let you know, I will be dropping the link for the workshop that completes this whole thing. It is at $40 off through this Saturday. And you will want to get in. This is a dig deep session. It is a one-on-one type. Let's dig deep into this and let's figure out where you're going and how do you want to walk your clients through your entire thing. It's your entire sales work through. I'll show you really quick again. Like we start up here, then we go all the way down And these are all the processes that you can systemize and processify. I don't know. Create processes for. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So we're going to find out and we're going to develop this and break it all on down over 3 days of how to do it. And then you get me giving you feedback and everything. So for $47, guys, you really can't beat that one. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.